Church History Meridian Magazine. Today is the anniversary of the martyrdom, the murder of Joseph and Hiram Smith in Nauvoo, Illinois. Their bodies are still there in cement graves. I don't know a whole lot more about that. I've never been there. I've never been able to afford to go to most of these. Like I used a credit card to go to Missouri. I also was hoping I could like meet people there or check out something, but then everything was closed except for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They weren't closed, but I kept having the thought, like maybe, because I think a lot of people knew. They're like, you should go there and check their archives. They might have a daguerreotype of Joseph Smith, and they probably started saying that in 2020. And I was like, I don't know, maybe. Oh, do they have like a library? Now that I'm an adult, I'm now like history, and I like going into a library and stuff, looking at stuff. But something interesting that I found, I talked a few times before about this picture and how, this guy, I still think he really, really looks like Bertha Madison. Her parents were from Norway. Her father specifically was from Stavanger. And so there's a lot of different pictures of Stavanger, and you'll just find hundreds of pictures like this of really calm waters. It's just how it's built. It's got they're not rivers really. It's sort of like lakes. I usually think a lake is a circle, but it's somehow they've got a lot of calm waters. Just in a lot of it is water in Norway, and clearly this is calm water, like a lake. I don't know all the terms for bodies of water, but they've got a lot of homes that are just on the water. Nauvoo doesn't look like that, and this just really looks like an area like that. But something that might upset a lot of people, so brave. There's a lot of people that just hate to watch me. It's just so comforting at night. And I go to church, and it's probably only like 3 women that, and maybe a couple guys. I can just always count on them. If I walk past them, they will turn their head and they will glare at me like as if I should know what I did to them and their family and their life. Like, I don't know you. There's been some sad situations with a couple people, different situations, sort of. But I was worried that they were connected, so it was scary, right? You just don't know. And I had to take, recently, it just wouldn't stop. Something was going on, and then all of this drama happens right as I'm like I'm extremely overwhelmed already, and then all this, it's just sort of like when my website got mildly popular for one weekend, plausible photograph, just old one. One weekend I had thousands and thousands of views, and suddenly people were talking to me, and for a little while some famous Mormons were following me, and then they unfollowed me in 2020. But I didn't know what I did, and I think it has a lot to do with this. I think they're like, oh, the family found the real one, this girl's stupid, she's bad. Like my friend that knew the family was just basically telling me like I'm doing something bad, and I still didn't know about this, but I'm 98%, maybe 97% made up ratios there. I think she knew. I think a lot of people knew, even though they're like, well, we didn't let anyone know. It was a weird thing. I knew something was going on, and I didn't know what, right? Um, I wish we'd published in 2019, but then everything I know by 2023 is so much. I'll just have like a question, and it's sort of like, there's a list of evidence of the Book of Mormon, and then as time has gone on, they've found things in America that they thought just didn't exist. Because we were still pilgrims. We were still new here when the Book of Mormon came out. We had not gone across all of America. We hadn't explored all of it. People were already saying, well, this doesn't exist in America, but because people travel and then they find out stuff about South America. Anyway, it just things will just, any question, it's just, they'll just get checked off. I'll find the answer to my question. And so, I mean, I could have just taken what they said and just closed the book. Okay, awesome. You go write your paper. I'll just go to sleep now and go do something else. But I would just find out things and I would make another video. So I found out something. So this probably was, and I'm sure experts, I'm not an expert, knows this. So I guess I'm just finding out. But this is almost exactly the same, this locket. It's missing the nub. Let me find. You could see it. I was trying to find a picture where it shows it. So it's like this, then there's a little nub. And then there is Emma Smith's actual. So she actually had a watch from Joseph that was just a watch, and it's just smooth on the top, and it has that big thing. It might have been bigger. It's not showing the back at all, but these are some of the items that she owned. I guess we could click on it, maybe see it clear. Yeah, that's clear. Okay. So the story, so this has a very almost exactly the same on the outside. It looks pretty worn down on the outside. So there's that design. It's got houses in the water and a very small patch of land around it. And that's very similar. But what's different is there's like a sailboat, and it's got a little bit of these like leaves coming down, almost. Got kind of like, this is different, a little bit of a sailboat. And then in this one, there's the house right there, right? But I tried looking at for other pocket watches. I just happened to stumble upon it, and I was just like, wow, that is so similar. So it's got that little nub. So it's pretty common that this is an actual, again, locket. It's not a watch. So this is an example of a locket with a little daguerreotype. So someone will probably buy this and try to prove this is Joseph Smith by the end of today. That's my prediction. On the martyrdom, I found the real daguerreotype. So this guy that was contacting me, I think with the same name, but like, if you just understand, if you email me everything going on, I don't trust that you are who you are, or that you have good intentions, or that I can trust you. You know, I'd seen a video of Tegan before I knew anything about her, and then they researched and she responded to me, and I found her university's, you know, contact information, and it wouldn't work anymore, just so you know. So don't try to do that. But then we Skyped, and so then of course, that built that trust. So that's how. So generally, if she wanted to talk to me, we would Skype. We knew each other. It was real, right? So there's been trust there. But if you're just emailing me, I don't know who you are. So this is a locket, okay? And so what Lach Mackay did is they did admit and say, okay, and I don't see that, I couldn't find a picture of the outside of this, or the other side flipped around, that this is the actual watch side. So basically, Emma was noted in one woman's journal that they found. It took them 2 years, and they did, you know, but they had access. And this guy's been a historian for over 30 plus years, Lach Mackay and Ronald Romig. They've already written a whole paper about the scandal daguerreotype. But they were like declaring this is the daguerreotype of Joseph Smith because they just believed it. And of course, he's, anyway, but they knew that this, so either this woman in her journal entry, so I'm going to tell you, you can just read their paper. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. that there's a story that Emma Smith, the wife of Joseph Smith, wore like a purple dress when she married Bideman, and she wore a gold watch. They always said a watch. And then there is a story about Emma J right here. She is wearing either a watch or a locket. So she's the oldest daughter, I think, of Joseph, his first wife. And she did write and talked about finding the gold watch that Emma Smith owned. But they're inferring, oh, they just thought it was a watch, but it was this. Because we think this is Joseph Smith. Because an FBI sketch artist gave it a 95% likeness, and then a computer, which I think someone showed me a seminar that it's like 95% false positives with just the computer. So those were just computer people. Like I looked them up and like they have an associate's degree or something, but I trust the people with the PhDs. They do know a lot. And you don't see enough details to know. I mean, you do see that and you see that. And then there's another photo right here. And I can't zoom this in, but in the paper they zoomed in and they got it really, got John Hammer, I think, did some of the computer stuff, but this is also Emma J. And so Emma J, they got the two photos of Emma J. They got her story that she saw the gold watch. Again, it was a statement of a watch, not a locket. So never in their paper did they verify that Emma J talked about a locket with Joseph Smith's photo in it. There's no story of that. But then everyone in the news is saying, well, this was worn by Emma J and at her wedding and all, it was passed down and they're all wearing this, it's this, or it was this. This is a watch. This is a locket. They've got a similar nub there. Okay. And then something, you can just read the paper, but there is a little nub on top. And so basically, this is not very clear, but you can read, they owned this and scanned it, and I won't zoom in any closer. It's from josephsmithsenior.org. I wasn't seeing the nub on the top. So that was what I talked about last summer. You don't see it from this angle, but I think you would see it from there zoomed in, and they had it zoomed in and made it as clear as possible. And I've seen all the angles of this. This is just smooth. And so it's bigger than this very big ring. So these are some, anyway, this is Community of Christ website. But in the paper, they show all angles of that and the other one. In my opinion, is those stories in what Emma J is wearing as a young woman and here, and then as an elderly woman, I think since she was talking about a watch, she was wearing a watch. She was wearing a watch. She was wearing this watch. Because she said it was Emma's gold watch. This is Emma's gold watch. They know what the watch is. They know. They're just saying, oh, but it could have been this. But yeah, it does seem to be that. And history with this, there isn't much detail. The collectors in Texas. But what does that mean? Nothing, really. So it's just very, very hard with a daguerreotype to know where it came from. And then now it's probably just a popular design. It does look pretty old. He does have that scarf that's wrapped around and put pretty high. It might be low, but he has the popped up collar. So a lot of people, they're mad. And initially, like, well, he doesn't have the popped up collar. The church history department, the person that was assigned to just argue, and it was sort of pointless arguments. But still, I'm just like, gosh, people are contentious. it was exhausting, but I just spent a ton of money, and I was excited. I found out so much, and it was just so much negativity. It's very hard. It's hard for me to go to church and have so much negativity when I know I need to be there. I need to take the sacrament and feel renewed and feel, but like I can't have, I'm sorry, I can't have a conversation with someone that's condescending or super, super negative towards me. About my situation, or very critical of me, or it's just, so I'm just saying to those that are, just please leave me alone. Um, please don't get a migraine on my behalf by, you know, probably, it feels like 100 people, even if it's just two particular women that just glare. You're like, I don't want to go inactive. The church is true. I need to take the sacrament. I need to show up. And there's just some conversations I wish I'd never had. That's just sort of been the metaphor for this year. I'm like, I wish I'd never talked to this person or asked this person for help. I'm just sort of like, I don't want to know. But anyway, this is another watch, and Joseph also apparently gave this one away. And they found this out in March of 2020. So the front, you only get to see it for like a second. We could try to look at it, but it looks like it's etched. Okay, so he had a lot of wives. We got Eliza Arsenault's watch. And it's the similar thing. It's got that from far away. It's hard to tell. It could have been this exact same design, I mean, the difference is between this and Emma's watch. Oh, Eliza got a really nice watch. Emma's is kind of a little on the boring side, but it literally says JS to Eliza Arsenault on it. True story. He gave her a watch, so we could try to find that on the church's website somewhere. Okay, is this the one that shows? Is this just not the full story? Yeah, I was zipping through it, and the article that shows the inscription, I just couldn't find, so I'm not gonna keep looking right now. But they have it, and it does show. Joseph gave to her. She was the secretary of the Female Relief Society, and the watch was to make sure the meetings ran on schedule. So I guess it was for the Relief Society. So I guess this is the front. So could Emma J be wearing just an actual watch? Wow. I think I can see it. What do you guys think? That just might be the front of the watch. I believe. I really, really believe that she's just talking about a watch. And they know what watch it is. And I think she's wearing the watch. So, all about this. So, for those of you that just don't know, and so maybe these were just commercially mass made, and then they put the daguerreotype in there by 1844 or 1845 or late 1850s. I don't know. Do they say the exact date? I mean, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints didn't rule it out based on this. They thought it was consistent with the 1840s, but they didn't find the provenance with it. But my website, I've studied my picture, and of course he does have that popped up collar, but why wouldn't he have a slight change in style when he's running for president of the United States? And people just gave him things, is what a lot of people said. But isn't it ironic that this is an oval, whereas this is circle? But all these people that are claiming that they saw the daguerreotype of Joseph Smith, they have this oval shape. And Emma's picture is an oval. And see, here's, Abraham Lincoln popped down collar really high up, then it's lower in the 1850s, and then it's just really thick and low. But, the pictures that are very likely by Lucian Foster, who is the man, why did that get thrown off? Yeah, it's anytime I go through my own website and make a video, that then but the actual daguerreotype, I'm not putting them on the website, but this is the carte de visite. This is on Rick Grunder's website. It's this exact oval shape. And then I superimposed these. It was just about the exact same cutout. And then you got Wilford and Phoebe. So these look like the two oldest. There's one other one that has a little bit older, like a newer, like less old case, whereas this looked older. This has got more of that. This is what Emma's the matting on Emma's daguerreotype that does appear to for sure. It has probably the best provenance of being the best likelihood of, because this would have been Nauvoo. It's baby David Hiram Smith, right? The only other person that people wrote about or that is known to have done early 1840s daguerreotypes or late 1840s was Marcena Cannon on the East Coast, not in Chicago. But it's the oval shape. It's not round. And she's got the same background as this guy, and the clothing. I was floored when I found that. And look, this is a striped. It's not super light, but it's interesting. It's in 1880s. They said 1882. I wouldn't be surprised if this was Frederick Piercy, who stayed with Emma in the 1850s. And I would bet as he's bonding with David Hiram Smith and talking about drawing, and then David's starting to draw at that point, meeting Frederick Piercy, who did a lot of artwork of Joseph Smith, specifically, obviously. But even this is catching those straight, thicker eyebrows. And I found this soon after, like, it probably felt like forever, but I waited a couple of days and then I researched 1840s clothing to see, okay, is this guy wearing 1840s clothing? This is 1840s, high collar, high up on the neck. It's got a bow tie, but it's wrapped around and tied, and it's got a very these tight vests. Open jacket. Okay, but it's very high up in the neck. Whereas 1850s, it's just relaxed and low. I don't know at what point it stopped being a separate piece. Even today, it might be a separate piece for some outfits. I don't know, but it was more in the 1800s. And he even had a front piece, right? Joseph did. But this is 1840s. This is 1840s. And this is his popped down collar that has evidence of a tie being rung through it and tied. So this would have been the front. And he had a watch fob that we have. It's just this nice, a fob would be connected to the other end of the watch. A lot of times the watch would be kind of hanging out, and that would be very decorative, and sometimes people would wear that as a bracelet. That's sort of when is very popular today, have little charms on a bracelet. It started back then. That was happening back then. So we're bringing back some very old styles. And then, of course, the vest, and I already did a video on that and showing that even up close, the remaining stitched areas still show some lighter, and it seems like it really goes like a blue, white, then black. So the length of that area it's about the same as the black, and then a lot of design and stuff. The bow tie, he definitely had a big fat bow tie, and you see how it's wrapped around the neck, and then it's brought around and finally tied. But it's this softer material. See, he's got a softer material. He's not wearing like that starched tiny little bow tie that Abraham is in Lincoln in the 1850s or 60s. He just stopped wearing in the later decades, a soft, like this is very starched. It's probably, this is probably just the pre-made bow tie just clipped on. And he probably had more money at that point, so he could afford something like that, right? And this is just very tiny tie, very low collar. And so the bow tie matches, and then so does the lapel. So it's just so much the outfit lines up with the clothes that Joseph Smith owned, which is this darker upper and just that angle being very long and tiny little notch right there and coming up, and he's wearing it very open. You know, whereas Hiram's got it closed tight. He's just got that jacket open. And he looks taller than Hiram there, quite a bit. So he was a little bit taller. You can tell Hiram was just a little bit skinnier, just shorter, smaller. Okay. But yeah, here you can see the lapel, and this goes really far. It's like really going off right there, but this is that upper part. And then you see a similar type of jacket in the photos of the sons of Joseph Smith. You see almost every single son wearing a jacket that kind of looks like that jacket. So anytime I looked at David Hiram Smith just standing, just drowning in this jacket that looks similar to the jacket in my photo, it really, this one just made me sad. You can tell this jacket doesn't fit him. This is not his jacket. And it's pretty similar, and it's a lot more detail, so it doesn't look super. I mean, it's probably really old at that point if he is wearing his dad's jacket that Maudsley painted him in. And his hairline, would you call him bald? No, this is about how receded the guy's hair is in my photo. It's not bald. It's so annoying. So stop being annoying and calling the guy bald. It doesn't fare well in the Bible. You know, that there was a prophet that was a bunch of children, but the other, I think, Hebrew or Greek translation found it was really more like teenagers, or young men, bald man, and then he cursed them and they were eaten by bears. So you don't make fun of a prophet's hairline. So I wouldn't do that, you guys. Have a good day.